Hey guys, this video is going to be a book review and summary of Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this is the book, this one right here. This is the book that got me started in real estate investing. Literally 17, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, I was in college and I picked up this book and it's changed my life in so many ways for the better. So let's jump on in. Some quick facts about this book, guys. This is the #1 personal financial book of all time. It was first published in 1997, and this book has literally been sold millions of times. Millions of times. In fact, it is celebrating 20 years on the cover here as the #1 personal finance book of all time. So it looks like it's 20 years running. Amazing. Let's jump on in with some of the summary items. All right, so the main theme of this book is how to use money as a tool to create wealth and income, not time. All right, so it's using money and leverage and your brain to acquire assets to where you can have your money start working for you so you don't have to work for your money. That's the main lesson that I want you to take away before we even jump in to each individual chapter and what we talk about in those, right? So some of the key takeaways, there's 6 lessons that Robert Kiyosaki learned from his rich dad about making money and the mistakes that his poor dad made along the way. Rich dad, poor dad, right? So Robert Kiyosaki actually had a real father, biological father, who was a teacher and an administrator at the school in Hawaii where he grew up. And he refers to him as his poor dad because that dad didn't ever get education on finances, on personal finance, and really how money works. And one of his best friend's dads, he also referred to as his rich dad. And his rich dad, I don't even think he graduated from high school or college. Maybe he did, it's irrelevant. But he taught him principles of money and finance and leverage and how to make your money work for you, as well as some of the basic principles on what differentiates how a wealthy person thinks versus how a poor person thinks, and so on and so forth. So some of the key takeaways and lessons learned. There were 6 different lessons that he learned from his rich dad that his poor dad was making these mistakes. There was a bunch of obstacles to overcome before you can become rich and stay rich. So we're going to get to those. And there's actually a bunch of steps. There's 10 steps to follow that you can use to develop your financial genius, as well as a bunch of actionable to-dos. All right. So this book consists of, I believe, 6 chapters. Correction, 10 chapters. And I'm going to read the chapters off because it's really, really important. All right. So the first one is chapter 1, The Rich Don't Work for Money. And he explains in this chapter that the rich don't work for money. In fact, what they do is they take the money they have and they make that money work for them. And there's various ways that the rich can do this. They can do this with leverage. They can do this with real estate. They can do this with stocks. But basically, that's the goal, because the amount of taxes you pay when your money works for you is a lot less than when you are working for your money. Very, very important. All right, chapter 2, why teach financial literacy? Well, he just literally breaks down why you need to understand how money works. Love it. Guys, you need to get this book. You need to read this book right away. Chapter 3 is mind your own business. All right. And he basically talks about the differences of working as if you are a business and how businesses operate and how they earn and spend and invest versus how the normal people, right? The not so rich people operate, right? So first, you want to pay off all your debts and start investing in income producing assets as soon as you possibly can. Next, you want to stay financially healthy by spending your time instead of your paycheck and investing as much as as the money as possible into assets, right? As much of the earned income you can make. All right, chapter 4, the history of taxes and the power of corporations. I love this chapter. He basically breaks down how business owners and how corporations structure their income and their business. It's very simple. Basically, number one, they earn and then they spend, and then last but not least, they pay taxes on what's left. Whereas the employee, the average person, earns, then they pay taxes, and then they spend what's left versus pay taxes on what's left. And there's a difference there. So you need to know the difference so you can start acting and working like rich people do versus the poor people. Hence, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Chapter 5, we get to the rich invent money. And there's ways that the rich can invent money or create money. There's investment packages, there's professional investors, there's lots of different ways that we can actually create money versus trading our time for it. All right, chapter 6, work to learn, don't work for money. And there's a couple different things he talks about in this chapter. And what he's really referring to is you need to learn how to manage things like cash flow and systems and people. I love using leverage in my business, right? I leverage hard and private money to buy houses. I leverage general contractors to fix them up. I leverage property management companies to help manage those and lease those properties, collect the rents. And then I leverage banks on the back end, right? So being able to understand and manage business activities, systems, and people is going to be a lot better skill than just trading your time for money. All right. Chapter 7 is overcoming obstacles. And there's going to be a ton of obstacles like fear and cynicism and laziness and bad habits and arrogance, right? And you want to get over these things. And he breaks them down and talks about each and every one of these things and how you can get over those. Chapter 9, still want more? Here are actually some to-dos. And in I believe it's chapter 9. Yeah, chapter 9, he breaks down 10 different things. So I'm going to read these to you. So here are the 10 steps to follow to develop your financial genius and discover the gold that's already out there just waiting to be found. So number 1, have a deep emotional reason or a purpose for doing what you do. A combination of wants and don't wants, right? So know the difference. Number 2, understand the power of choice and choose daily what to do, including choosing the right habits and constantly educating yourself. Number 3, choose your friends carefully by leveraging the power of association and being careful not to listen to poor or frightened people. They're going to have a different mindset. It's going to drag you down. You'd want to eliminate those people and choose your friends wisely. Number 4, master the power of learning quickly and develop a formula for making money. Okay? So literally, you need to master things. You got to quit being half in and half out. Jump in with both feet, learn it, master it, and figure out a way to develop a formula of making money. So many ways of doing this. I personally love using real estate. Number 6, select great people for your team and compensate them generously for their advice, because the more money they make, the more money you make. So build a great team and focus on compensating them and being there for them, because they will be there for you. Number 7, ask yourself, how fast do I get my money back? By focusing on return on investment first, followed by return on investment. Okay, so return of investment versus return on investment. So how long does it take me to get all of my money back, right? That's why I love the BRRRR method, because I don't have to use any of my own money at all to get into real estate and get into owning assets. All right, if you guys want more information about the BRRRR method, there'll be some links below this video where you can learn more about it and work with me on it. I love helping and teaching people. So again, focus on return of investment first, then followed by the return on the investment. Number 8, use money generated by your assets to own and buy your luxuries by focusing on self-discipline to direct money to create more money. So basically, don't go out and buy liabilities. And that's one thing we kind of skipped over, but one of the things that this book has really taught me in my personal life and in my business life is that there's a difference between assets and liabilities. A lot of people might think that that shiny watch on their wrist or that fancy car that they have is an asset. When in all reality, you probably don't own those things. They own you, and they don't put money into your pocket every week or month or quarter. They take money out of your pocket. So, your home that you live in costs you to live in it. It doesn't pay you to live there. It costs you to live there. It's a liability. And the car you drive doesn't pay you to drive it. It costs you to drive it. It's a liability. But assets like rental properties, multifamily, commercial, could be stocks, could be bonds, could be businesses. These things are actually assets. So instead of going out and spending all your time and money buying liabilities, spend all your time and money and focus buying and building assets that spit off money, and use those assets to pay to buy and or rent or have these liabilities in your life. It's a really, really big and important thing, all right? So definitely focus on using your money that you generate to buy assets, to buy and control the luxuries. You really need to focus on the self-discipline to direct the money to create more money. It's that simple. That's number 8. Number 9, have a role model to follow and tap into the power of their genius to put to your use. Basically, what he means in number 9 is have a role model, a mentor, or a coach. If you are looking to learn something, the easiest and quickest way is to go talk and network or hire somebody who's done it. That's not only going to speed up that process tenfold, but it's also going to prevent you from making the same mistakes that that person may have made. So I love number 9. And number 10, realize that if you want something, you need to give something first, which might necessarily mean, it could mean learning it, it could mean partnering, it could mean trading something or paying with time, paying with money. But if you want something, you need to give something first. It's a great philosophy. It's kind of like karma in a way. But guys, that is an amazing list of 10 things that are going to help you develop your financial genius. And it's all in this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Absolutely love this book. All right, and the very last chapter is the final thoughts, as well as about the author. It says here that there's 9 chapters, but you really have one in the beginning and an intro and then one at the end. So it's really about 11 or 12 chapters, give or take. But it's an amazing book. And in fact, this book has changed my life for almost close to 20 years. I keep going back to it. I keep rereading it. 5 stars, best book on finance, probably my number 1 favorite book of all time. If you haven't read this book, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go read it. All right, before we wrap up this video, guys, I want to go over some of the to-dos really quickly that he's going to highlight in the last chapter of this book, right? So in the final section of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think it's chapter 9, he's going to pull the key lessons of the book together into a checklist of actions that you can start taking today, all right? So number 1, stop doing what you're doing by taking a break and assessing what is and isn't working, right? Stop trying to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. If something's not working, stop doing it. Let's take a break, but start seeing the big picture. What are you doing that's working? What's not? Next would be look for new ideas by finding resources on different and unique subjects. Always expand your brain and keep learning. Find a mentor who's been where you're going. Take them to lunch and pick their brain, or even hire them. Very, very important. Again, these are the action items. Next would be always be learning by taking classes, attending seminars, reading podcasts, watching videos like this. Continue to expand your mind and always learn new things. Next would be make a lot of offers. All right, always with escape clauses, because eventually someone will say yes. All right, so make a lot of offers. It could be offers in your business if you're selling something or a product or a service, or if you're trying to buy something. You need to be making offers to people if you want to do business with them. Next would be spend 10 minutes each morning for the next 12 months. 10 minutes walking, running, or driving a certain area and looking for changes that create bargains. And really what he's talking about in this tip or this action item is driving for dollars 101. Go out and drive or walk or run for 10 minutes every day in a new area or a certain area and look for changes that are going to create bargains. If you can buy a property at a discount, you can turn it into an asset. You can wholesale it. You can flip it. You can add it as a rental. Use the BRRRR method like I like to do, and use none of your own money. Next, shop for real estate deals when the market corrects, because profits are made when you buy, not when you sell. I'm going to repeat that. Profits are made when you buy, not when you sell. Next, learn how, when, and where to buy, investing in your education. All right, where to buy it. So go to seminars and hire a coach. It's very, very important. Think bigger to get richer. Love that phrase, because small thinkers don't get the big breaks. They don't get the big paychecks. They don't get the wealth. They don't get all of the happiness, all right? So think big. Most people only look for what they can afford. So buy a bigger pie and cut it into pieces by finding a buyer first, then a seller. Again, that's a real estate tip. Negotiate volume discounts when you think big. Pooling people together and buying things in bulk will help you if you're rehabbing houses or even buying multiple houses. Negotiate volume discounts, love that. And then read and learn from history, because history always repeats itself. And action is always going to beat inaction. Very, very simple. So guys, 5 stars. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Love this book. It's changed my life. Go read it if you haven't already. And if you've already read this book, read it again. I challenge you, because you're going to learn new things every single time. And the book's got tons of great charts, which is going to be hard to see in this video, and quotes, and just things that are going to help teach you, get your financial IQ higher, as well as motivate you guys. So quick review on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I hope you guys like it. If you did like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. We'll do some more of these soon. Thanks for watching.